Alright, and we should be live. Welcome back to another stream. So tonight we're going to be continuing on our note-taking / studying journey for web accessibility and hopefully getting to responsive design. I kind of want to lock in and get as much of this done as possible so that we can continue on to projects and React, hopefully. Yo, Stuns, how's it going? Hope you're having a good evening. It's going pretty well, yeah. That's good to hear. It was honestly a really boring day. I'm not gonna lie. This is like super filler episode energy, I guess. But yeah, no, I was kind of just waiting for the day to progress so that I could get to streaming, honestly. Work was really slow. Not really going good. How come? Is it because you can't just figure out the design, or is it more so um, like technical? Because if you want like just a basic layout to go off of, like, okay, let me be careful with what I say here, because I don't want to encourage, I don't want to sound hypocritical. However, oh, you're trying to use Figma. You know what you could do is you could either look at inspiration or use an LLM to generate a few ideas that you can then use as a reference to inform your design. And I say that lightly because I'm not saying you should use AI to make your entire design. I'm just saying you could help it, in this case, guide you to a design, especially if your focus, remember, if your focus is web development, then the design, doing the design yourself is less important, because in an actual, like if you were to work as a front-end web dev, you would get the designs from like a UI designer, right? You would get the Figma designs like given to you, right? So you could almost like treat it in that way, where you can use the AI as kind of a filler. But if you still want to design it yourself, like just use AI as a reference maybe or something. If you're feeling stuck, or just like Google like restaurant like layouts or whatever, and then you can just look at those for inspiration. I think that's kind of how I did it, if I remember correctly. I used a mixture of AI and references. Right. Exactly. You can use AI for the content too, because the content is not the focus of the lesson, right? Like as long as you're using, you know, as long as you're avoiding AI for the meat and potatoes of the lesson, which is actually making the web page like with code, then you're good. The content and even the design is less important. Now, if you want to be a UX designer or like a web designer, then doing the web design without AI is pretty important. But if that's not your goal, then in my opinion, it doesn't really matter. And you can just use AI to help with that. That's how I would approach it anyway. Yeah, exactly. It's not, I don't know. And also, Stuns, if you want me to do another like code review, I'd be happy to. When you're finished, I can kind of let you know what I think about it. Um, Totally up to you though. It also sucks because you suck at HTML, CSS. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just practice, right? You'll get better as you continue. And I'm not gonna say I'm good at it either. Like, this whole like web accessibility section is all about using semantic HTML and CSS, right? Like I tend to just overuse divs. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. You can also like, I don't know if I'm friended. I don't know if I friended you on Discord, but you can send me a friend request if you want as well. Um, you overuse divs? Nah, yeah. I know. That's what this whole semantic HTML lesson is about. It's about not overusing divs, so that if you have a, you know, a blind individual that needs to use a screen reader for your site, they can actually like know what's going on. Oh, I did already? Okay. I wasn't sure. That's oh, on GitHub. Yeah. I got you on GitHub. I was talking Discord as well. If you want to be friends on Discord, I don't mind. I don't know. Maybe I've already friended you on Discord. I've honestly lost track. Um, Sounds good. Sounds good. Moving to a table. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I'll accept the request on the break here. Tables require a caption. So for I'm also trying out a new rain sound video because I kind of get sick of listening to the same one over and over again. So I don't know. The thunder is kind of throwing me off. I might switch it, but we'll see. It's okay for now. I was actually thinking of making, as like a side project in the future, I was thinking of making my own like white noise generator or something. Because I tend to overuse these YouTube videos. You listen to rain ambience when you do the course? Nice. Yeah, I cycle between rain ambience, and then I listened to like a creek water flowing as well. I find that nice. Although I got a very rude comment from somebody about that, so I stopped playing that for a little bit. Very quiet lo-fi. Yeah, I find lo-fi distracting because it has a beat. Like when it has the beat, I don't know. I find the beat distracting. Yeah, I had someone make a very rude comment about the flowing sound. So yeah, I was like, you know what? Like F off, you know. Yeah, the repetition of the table. Gotta go now. Gotta go help a family member do some late night shopping. Oh, geez. Yeah, at midnight. No kidding. Well, have fun with that. Sounds good. I'll be live till probably around 9 p.m. my time. So like 2 a.m. your time. So it might be a little late, but yeah, feel free to stop by. Feel free to stop by. I hope the shopping trip is a success. And I appreciate that. Oh yeah, for sure. Like at 11:30 at night. Thank you. I'll try my best. Okay, that's fine. And then I'm not gonna do these videos because I don't do videos on stream. And then that should be good. All right, what's the next section we've got here? Accessible colors. Oh, sorry, white text on a white background. Ooh, contrast checker. This is good. Yeah, this is what I really like about Obsidian. It's the linking. interesting. So if I go to my weather app, and then I can go to the contrast checker, element picker tool. Let's see. Accessibility. Click the element picker tool in the elements tab, then hover an element on the web page, then displays a tooltip showing the contrast ratio under the accessibility section. Oh yeah, 10.88, there we go. That's pretty nice. That's pretty neat. Nice. Let's see, okay, knowledge check. What is a contrast ratio? It's different in brightness. What are the ways you can check? Blah, blah, blah. We already did the dev tools thing. What should I avoid? Only portraying. Only conveying information with color. Okay. Now we're cooking. Okay, that's 2 lessons done. What do we got? Keyboard navigation, meaningful text, ARIA, and then accessibility auditing. Okay. Some users aren't able to use a mouse with navigator operates. Alright, there we go. There's the first break. I gotta try and blitz through this content because I don't know. I know it's not the most exciting or interactive to watch, but I don't know. Again, the goal here is to show my entire process, so. Alright, I think I'm just gonna skip the rest of this break, honestly. I think I'm ready to jump back into this content. Yeah, so all right, let's tab index 0. Wait a second. CSS hard to learn? I think it depends on how deep you go into it, MKM. I think learning basic CSS is pretty simple, but I think like getting into this like nitty gritty, like web accessibility stuff can be tricky. And like complex selectors, CSS functions, media selectors. Like there's a upcoming concept for like media queries. Like this can be kind of weird to get your head around. Like you can basically query the client of your user and then have conditional styles based on what their client looks like, right? So if they're using a phone, for example, that has a a portrait aspect ratio and like a smaller width, then you can style things differently. We're getting there. I'm not quite there yet, but getting to that part. I'm kind of confused though why the tab index is 0 for both of these. Ensure tab order is reflective of the visual order on this page. Yeah. Hidden content. Yeah, see, like we can press tab to go through these different headings, right? Yeah. Cool. Kind of confused on this tab index thing. Oh, are divs not tabbable by default? Oh, I see. That's why you add the tab index. Okay. Can also make elements that are not normally tabbable, like divs. Tabbable. Interesting. Yesterday you had snow in 2 days. It's 25°C. Dang. We today here we had a bunch of rain. It was raining and like 1 degree Celsius, so like 34 Fahrenheit. Very cold. Well, not very cold, but pretty cold. Might actually save this guy. You actually like winter more than summer? Really? I kind of disagree, actually. I like summer more than winter. But I especially don't like this phase right now. Like, it's kind of spring, like it's early spring. And like all the snow's starting to melt, and it's like my town is like flooded. Like where I live is like flooded. So that's kind of annoying. Give hidden content a tab index of -1. Prevents element from receiving focus with tab. Spring is the worst, yeah. I agree. Spring is in my opinion, the order of the seasons. Spring is the worst, then winter, then summer, then fall. I actually like fall weather the most. Because it's not too cold yet, but there's no mosquitoes, and the leaves are really pretty. So like I would say like September and October are like the best months as far as weather. The air is like fresh. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, fall is the best. I mean, it was never the best as a kid because obviously, at least where I'm from, fall, like school started in September, right? So that kind of sucked. The only debate is winter or summer. We can agree that fall is the best, spring is the worst. Yeah, exactly. I agree. I only say winter is worse than summer just because like where I live it gets really cold. Like if I lived in a more mild place, I might like winter more. But like by really cold, like I'm talking like some days it gets down to like -25, -30 Celsius, like very cold. So like you can't even go outside. Like it's just completely. So I don't know. I feel like kind of stuck sometimes inside. I mean, not all days are that cold, but like you'll get like a cold snap or a few days are like -30. Winter, yeah, fair. I mean, again, it depends on where you're from. If I lived in like, I don't know, like the southern United States or something, I'd probably like winter more. Or like somewhere else, like southern Europe. Yeah, and see, our summers here are not that hot. Like they get pretty warm, but they're not like that. Like our summers are like between 20 and like 25 Celsius. But sometimes it gets up to 30, but not usually higher than 30. You like winter because less people go out, places like the gym are less crowded in the morning? Yeah, that's fair. I am I am included in the people that don't go out though. I will admit. Yeah, it is nothing exactly. Like, I think the warmest day that I've ever like I've maybe yeah, you should come to Canada in the summer. Like, okay, there are different parts. Like I live in a part that is colder, but different parts of Canada can get really hot. Um, so it depends on where you go. Um, but I live in a colder part of Canada. I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mediterranean climate. Um, I wish. I wish I lived in the Mediterranean climate. I have family that lives in Portugal because I'm half Portuguese, and I'm very envious of Portugal. I really like their weather. I've been a couple of times, and I really think that Mediterranean is like the best. I'm not my biology isn't built for the cold, um, so. Does display none remove elements from seafood is also good? Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Setting display none dynamically does remove the element from the zone. Okay. Oh, is this another video? Okay, I'm not gonna watch videos here. Skip links. Balkans in July. After that, you won't be afraid. That's fair. I mean, I've been to warm places before in the summer. Like, I have family in the U.S. Some family. And when I was a kid, we would go visit. And I remember one day it was like 42 degrees Celsius, which was probably the warmest day I've ever experienced in my life. I was a little kid though, so I don't really remember too much, but I remember we went to an aquarium in New England, and it was like 42. The car was reading 42 degrees Celsius, which was like insane. I think in Fahrenheit that would be like 110 or something, like 109. It was very hot. I know like you guys are probably like used to it, but like for me it was very strange. So yeah, I do want to visit like that part of Europe though, like the Balkans, like kind of like South Central Europe. It's very beautiful. Honestly, all of Europe, like there's not, honestly, aside from maybe like, not to get political, but like, you know, the part where the action's happening, that's all I'll say. Other than that part of Europe, like I would go to anywhere in Europe, honestly. It's all beautiful. I've only been to Portugal and the UK. I haven't been to any other country in the EU, so it's definitely on my bucket list for sure. I know that kind of got off topic, but I was just thinking about it. Yeah, okay, so most keyboard and screen reader users. West part is better, Spain, Portugal, yeah. Is it really? Huh. I mean, I know that when I went there, it kind of like I have extended family there too, and it kind of felt the most like home away from home feeling. So I can kind of relate, but that's also because like half of my family is Portuguese, so I don't know. it kind of made sense. Like when I went with my family members that immigrated to Canada from Portugal, like it was home for them, right? So it was very much like I kind of fed off of their vibe, and they like knew where everything was. And yeah, I went when I was a teenager, 2 times. And yeah, no, very, very great spot. I wish I could say I spoke Portuguese well, but I don't. I'd love to go to Spain too. Never been. Yeah, that's fair. That's interesting. I wonder why that is. Cause like I don't know. To me, it's like nothing special. Maybe just cause like I've grown up, you know, in the kind of immersed somewhat into the culture, but I guess it makes sense. I mean, Portugal was kind of like a shit place to be for a while. Obrigado. Yeah. Obrigado. Yeah. I know that word too. It's pretty much all you need. And also, like, different parts of Portugal have different different dialects too. Like, the part where my family's from has a completely different dialect than like the main dialect in like Lisbon. So they're like pretty hard to. It's hard for them to understand, like Lis like Lisboa Portuguese, right? Versus like where they're from. So I don't know. And then of course like Brazilian's like a completely different game too. Um, Brazilian Portuguese is very different. Any advice you're learning responsive design lesson? I'm not at the responsive part yet. I'm on the accessibility currently. However, I will say that when you're learning any sort of like this is a good example because right now we're doing a lot of like reading documentation, right? Like I'm not doing as much hands-on building yet. However, I would say if it's very content heavy, you should take the time to read through the documentation, make notes, however you learn, however you retain the information, study it that way. And then this is at least my approach. I don't know. There are many different approaches. If you want to start building right away, then you can. But my kind of approach with this is I'm going to start taking notes, as I'm doing right now. And then when it comes time to actually put all the pieces together in this homepage project, I'm going to reference the notes that I created and kind of revisit the learning that I've done in the last, however many hours it takes me to get through this, which is hopefully by the end of this stream. We'll see. Such a small country, so much regional culture and dialects. Yeah, exactly. Versus like Canada, right? Where, I mean, I know like, obviously before European contact, like Canada has a very, very rich indigenous history. But when it comes to like modern Canada, you could get somebody from Vancouver and somebody from Halifax, and they would, opposite sides of the country, and they kind of like sound the same, pretty much, right? It's very different. Like my grandparents who immigrated here, they're still alive, God bless. But they still miss, they miss like Portugal still after being in Canada for over 50 years, like 50 plus years. Yo, J-Mac, how's it going? Which, like, I get it. I would miss it too, honestly. That's the thing that I noticed too, like, yeah, exactly. Like, that's the thing I noticed too. Like, when I was a kid, I lived in the UK for 6 months. And we'd go to, like, castles and, other very historically old places, right? And I don't know. I just got a sense of that history that like I didn't have growing up in Canada, because like the oldest buildings that we have are like from like the 1800s. Like they're like maybe 150 years old, or like maybe a little bit older than that. But that's it. Like anything earlier than like the mid 1800s like doesn't exist, right? Which is like crazy for like European people, because like you go to Europe and it's like, you just stumble upon like an 1,000-year-old church or something like that, right? It's wild. Very cool, but crazy. Very rich history. Canada on top, yeah. I mean, yes and no. I don't know. I'd argue that we're better than the U.S. right now. Although, that's it's kind of a heated topic. But yeah, no, I can't complain really. I'm fortunate to have a job and place to live and stuff like that. So it's all I can really ask for these days, which is like kind of bare minimum, but It's nice to have that, I guess. Although, forget like buying a property. Like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to afford like real estate or anything like that. Real estate, I don't know if you guys know, but real estate in Canada is like insane. Waterloo on top? Oh yeah. Are you I've been to Waterloo before. I've been to Waterloo. I actually had a buddy who went to engineering at Waterloo. Oh, we hate Waterloo? Fair. That I also understand. KW. Is it true that some Canadians say a boot? No, not really. I think it's because non-Canadian ears hear it as a boot, but it's not. Why in Canada, USA, do you not live with your parents? Well, I'll say I lived with my parents until I was 22. So it's not everybody. And I honestly don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just like a cultural thing. But it's kind of like the expectation that you move out when you finish high school. At least depending on the family you're from. Waterloo definitely has strong pipeline into big tech out of all Canadian schools. Yeah, I actually applied to Waterloo out of high school and I did not get in. It was too competitive. It was too competitive. So I just stayed at my local school. I'm not going to say which school I went to. But I just stayed at my local school instead of Waterloo. Because I was like, nah. Too many sweats, you know? Here you can live with parents even after you get a job. It's very rare for someone to live alone before marriage. Interesting. You didn't even think U of T is close? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It depends on the industry you're in. Like, I have a friend who got a master's degree from U of T, and they're doing very well for themselves. But they're not in tech. They're in healthcare, so it's a different sector. Oh, you're from the West. Oh, so you are Canadian, JMac. Nice. Okay, that's cool. I've never been out. Well, actually, that's a lie. I've been out west. I've been to Alberta, but I've never been to BC. Um, I didn't actually know we had a Canadian in here. That's kind of cool. Unless you're American West Coast. But yeah, no, I think Abdu, like, living with parents, like, I think it's just a cultural thing. Like, I have nothing against people that live with their parents. Like, I know some of my friends actually to this day still live with their parents, and they're like in their mid-20s like me. Um, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like, if your family's cool with you living at home, like, go for it, you know? Um, I mean, it's definitely cheaper, especially if your family doesn't charge you rent. Like, I had that benefit until I was until I left. Um, so rent is very expensive. Would you say that Portuguese are maybe more warmer than Canadians based on your experience? If you know Portuguese, yes, I think so. However, Portuguese are kind of, at least from when I went there, they were very, like, it depends. It depends on where you go. Like, some were very friendly, and some were only friendly if you spoke Portuguese. So, like, basically my family that spoke the language, they would, like, introduce us to different people. And then they'd get friendly once they knew we were Portuguese. But, like, I don't know, like, if, like, a non-Portuguese, like, American tourist would go or something. Like, I don't know. I think it's very dependent on who. Yeah. Oh, from Van area? Nice. I actually thought about applying to UBC, but I'm in the East Coast, so it's very far for me. I'd love to go to out west sometime. I've been to Banff and Calgary. I've never been to Edmonton, but I'd love to go out to Vancouver. I've never been to BC. Maybe they've confused you with Americans, which happens a lot to Canadians. Yeah. I know though, when we lived in the UK, my parents said that at least the British people that they talked to could tell they were Canadian immediately based on our accent. Because I guess Canada has it's kind of hard to hear, I think, but Canadians have a slightly different accent than Americans do, right? Like, and I can actually hear it now because I've paid attention to it. If you into snowboarding, Van is good. I don't snowboard, but I ski. I've skied since I was very little, like for like 20 years, like since I was like 5 or 6. I've skied a long time. There are hills in my province, but you know, they're not the best. Although we have a couple good ones. From your experience, Canadians blend very much. Americans are much louder. Yeah, I would say that's right. I mean, Canadians being polite, like I think that's true. I think Canadians are polite. Especially like in smaller communities. Like I live in a smaller community. And I would say that, you know, Canadians in smaller towns are nicer. Toronto accent makes no sense. Yeah, I know. I don't even know Toronto slang. I'm not from Toronto. I've been there like 1,000 times, but I've never lived there. I've never visited there for very long. But yeah. No, where I'm from, it's like, you know, you get like the Canadian like hockey player accent, you know, like the Bush accent. Do we start skating as toddlers? I didn't, MKM. Some do. Hockey culture is very... Okay, and I know I'm going to say, like, I know this is kind of off topic, and I'll get back to this in a second, but hockey culture is very heavy in Canada. Like, a lot of people do the hockey thing and start their kids skating really young. But like, half of my family is European, so... I never did skating from like a very young age. I learned how to skate later, but not till I was older. But definitely like kids I went to school with were like into hockey like once we were like in like kindergarten basically. It was a very big deal in my town growing up. I mean, I wasn't a part of it. I actually played soccer or like football. Because that was my sport growing up. Because I you know, kind of tying to my European roots, I guess. That was the sport that I chose. Well, maybe, will you maybe do a World Cup game? Will I go to one? Maybe. I live, like, kind of close to, one of the cities hosting. Maybe. I don't know. I think they're probably expensive, too. Like, the tickets are probably really expensive. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to, though, ideally. Yeah, the price is insane. Yeah, I mean, I'm not rich. Like, I'm far from rich. Like, I know I have a job and stuff, but like, I do not have, you know, that much money to throw around. Um, so I don't know. It would depend, I guess. I'll definitely be following the World Cup at the very least, like on TV and stuff. Because I do casually like sports. I'm not like a super big sports fan, but I am a casual viewer. Is football in the top three? Depends which kind of football. If you're talking about American football, I would say yes. And soccer, probably not. Like soccer football, like European football, probably not. Yeah, it's probably not top three. I would say top five though. I would say the top three sports are hockey, American football, and I don't know, maybe basketball. Basketball is pretty popular. I would say those three, and then baseball. Baseball's up there too, but not as popular as hockey. Like hockey, I know it's cliched, but hockey takes over like everything. There's also a smaller sport that's pretty popular too called curling. I don't know if you've heard of curling, but that's very popular as well. At least where I lived, where I grew up, it was very popular. Um, it's also played on ice too. Um, I actually played it for a little bit in an intramural league when I was in middle school. Gotta go to sleep. It was nice talking to you. Have a nice day. I appreciate that, MKM. I hope you have a great night. And I appreciate you stopping by. I know it's probably late over there, late over there in Europe, so I don't blame you for wanting to go. Necessary. Its purpose is just to allow users to jump to other types of page content. Da, 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 da. There we go. See, like right here, for, you know, different heading structures that are named like nav and main. Within the keyboard navigation notes, I can link to the semantic HTML right here, so then they can kind of link to each other. I don't know. Another, I know I've probably said that like multiple times, but that's kind of why I like Obsidian, having those links, and then you can like look at a graph of which notes are connected to which notes, right? Right now it looks kind of sparse, but you know, it's there. Anyway, I think that's everything, because I'm not going to watch videos on stream. Okay, what are the two things that interactive elements must have? For keyboard users, they must be focusable, and they must have like a name, right, or something. Oh, they should never be completely removed. Oh, and styles, yes. Do tab order in which elements are tabbable, which can be navigated using the tab key. Best way to hide hidden content using CSS. Tab index of -1. I think that's good. I think we're good here. Okay, what do we got? Meaningful text. All right. God, I cannot type tonight, guys. My fingers are fried from working all day. Too many emails. Yeah, this week I feel like at work is a very like email heavy week. Email heavy and I don't know what else, like bookkeeping, all the boring stuff about my job. My voice keeps cracking because I was in too many meetings. You know how it is. All right, rules to links on to adding links. 1, make sure the Where should you start as a beginner, Jerry? There's multiple different spots you can start. It depends on how beginner you are. The one place you can start is the Odin Project, which is what I'm currently using to guide my web development journey. You can get a link to it right here. But there's also other options as well. Like you can do free code camp, which kind of is good because it walks you through like web development, right from the beginning, and it gives you a very guided experience. So if I go to free code camp and I go to like responsive web design, you can see that like each individual lesson is very much is very guided. Like let me go to further down here. Let me see. Like you can see like it tells me exactly what I have to do, right? It says you should have this inside this, and like each step is like a very specific instruction, right? And you don't have to set up your own environment. All of the coding is done in the browser, which is convenient, right? So if you're very beginner, I would suggest free code camp probably is a better option. But if you're more independent and you wanna teach yourself more, then I'd say the Odin Project's great, as it gives you that flexibility to take projects your own way. Like if I go to the project for this section, for this homepage, you can see like it kind of gives you brief instructions for like what to like how to do it, but it doesn't give you like exactly which tags you need to edit or whatever, and that's fine. Like either way is valid. It just depends on like how much guidance you require when learning, right? So that's kind of like my advice. I would say start with one or the other. I don't really see a reason to go with something other than Free Code Camp or Odin Project, but you can. There are others out there. Like there's this one called the other thing with Free Code Camp and Odin Project is they're both completely free. Yeah, no worries, Jerry. I appreciate you asking. Like there's Front End Mentor. There's this other one called Scrimba. Some people in my community really like this one, Scrimba, but it costs money. So I mean, it's up to you which approach you want to take, I guess. But no, if you have any other questions, like let me know. Happy to help out. Day 52 and you're on day 20, Abdu? That's good. Day 20 is good. I was on day 20 a bit ago. But hey, progress is progress. Like, if you think about it this way, if you've been doing about 3 hours a day, roughly, 2 to 3 hours a day, and you're on day 20, then that's like 50 hours, 50 to 60 hours of work that you've put in. And that's like more than a full-time work week. Like, that's pretty good. And if you've been doing more than that, then that's even better. So you're well on your way, my friend. Of course, of course. If the image being displayed is not crucial, leaving Alt T is preferred, as otherwise could confuse, could cause confusion. Nice, that's awesome. I believe you'll get there, Abdu. I don't know where I was on day 20. Probably early JavaScript course, I think. In uni, you use C to study. Yeah, we did too, a little bit, depending on the course. We also used Python. Nice. Yeah, Java's a good language as well for learning. They focus more on software engineering. Yeah, that's fair. I honestly wish my uni did as well, but oh, operating system. I see. Yeah. That's where we did a lot of our C coding. Was in the my operating systems class. We had one operating systems class. Well, you study Linux. That's cool. Yeah, for our operating system, we use Linux. Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Implement virtual memory with C. You feel like you're bad at math? Honestly, I felt the same way. It's just like, it's just practice, really. But, I don't know. At least you're not in a math degree. That would be worse. I mean, I will say my CS degree was very math heavy. Compared to, like, you know, learning actual, like, industry skills like web development or whatever. Or like systems development, backend, whatever it is. Didn't learn any of that. Almost makes me wish I went to college instead, but you know, I guess employers really like university degrees still, so unfortunately, I think they probably shouldn't, but you know, it is the way it is. Calc 3 is nice for machine learning. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, machine learning is a lot of calculus and linear algebra. There was actually, I was in a machine learning theory class that I had to drop because it was too difficult. So I took the applications class instead, which was more like just using Python to like build like support vector machines and neural networks and stuff like that. All we talk about is gradient descent. Yeah, exactly. I remember that being like the huge topic, right? Because like that's how the model decides whether or not, you know, the like if the input was, you know, if the input was, or the produced output was close to the ground truth, then you know it descends the gradient and then tweaks the weights. I don't know. I don't really fucking get. I honestly don't understand the math really. Like I understand the math at a very high level, but all the like nitty gritty calculus stuff, like no. Like I understand why it uses calculus, because you're basically, you know, if you think of the field of parameters as like an n-dimensional graph, right? Then you're like kind of like descending the slope of that n-dimensional field. Like a ball rolling down a hill, but it's like it gets so confusing. Exactly, JMac. It's really weird. But then there's like other ways of machine learning, like regression, which is not even like regression models don't use gradient descent. I don't think. I could be wrong, but it uses like regression, right? Like the other thing that I learned about machine learning, or the thing that I took away from machine learning, is it's basically just applied statistics at a very, very, very advanced level. It's just computational statistics, really, at the end of the day. Like I remember the prerequisite for that course was literally a stats class, which makes sense because you need to know all that stuff. No, I don't think it does either. I think regression's its own. I think it's its own thing. Yeah, exactly. And usually it's only across like one dimension of shit as well. Exactly, there is a closed form solution. Like there's no machine learning in that case. Like a regression model just exists. Like you don't have to. It's not reinforcement learning, right? Like RL. That's more where you get into like neural nets and stuff. And then that's a whole fucking confusing thing as well. Neural nets. It's very RL is pretty cool. Yeah, it is cool. I mean, RL is basically what led to it's the grounding theory behind all of the AI models that exist today, right? Like LLMs and all that. And image generators and stuff like that, like image classification, like ImageNet. RL is kind of the grounding, like seminal theory that underpins all that. We also study language theory. Is that like an NL course, Abdu? Like, or NLP? NLP, natural language processing. I remember some of my friends took an NLP course. Or sorry, neuro-linguistic programming. Or not? No, that's not it. Natural language. It was the wrong link. Here it is. Natural language processing. Okay. It's processing of natural language information by a computer. Yeah, there was a course we had on this. Well, I didn't take it because I thought it was too hard, but it's pretty cool stuff. I did take a compilers course too, JMac. We basically had to use Python to implement a very simplistic version of Pascal. We literally were implementing fragments of a compiler in Jupyter notebooks, which was like so fucked. Like it was. I don't know why the prof was anal about Jupyter notebooks, but yeah, that was my compilers course. Learning about regexes and stuff like that's pretty useful. Kind of like gives you an appreciation for how like programming languages actually work, right? Because like obviously they're not magic. Like the programming language has to be converted into machine code somehow, right? So that the computer can actually run it. I don't know. Oh, that's pretty cool. Using Python sounds troll. Yeah, it was because the professor didn't really care about actually like it was more all about the theory, right? Yeah, assembly. Yeah, you compile into assembly and then into machine code. Yeah. Exactly. Or you can have multiple levels. You can go from like one programming language to another. Like for example, TypeScript compiles into JavaScript, which compiles into what? Like WebAssembly, which then compiles into machine code, right? Something like that. I don't know. What does JavaScript compile into anyway? What does JS compile? Or is JS compiled? I actually don't know this. Oh, just in time compiled, okay. What is it compiled into, though? Your mind does admit assembly, it just runs on a VM. Oh, I see. Why do I not use AI mode? Because I could, but I didn't want it interfering with some of my queries. Abdu. If this is what you mean about AI mode right here. Yeah, so what does JS compile into? I actually don't know the answer. Oh, in a native machine code. Interesting. Goes right to machine code. Yeah, exactly, JMac. I actually have my search engine defaulted to the web tab, so that it basically circumvents the AI mode. JIT converts to assembly on the spot. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I wasn't 100% sure. You think when AI gives you the information directly, it makes you kind of stupid? Yeah, I mean, because then you don't have to search for it. Like, I think there's value in searching for information yourself and kind of sifting through documentation, because it kind of improves your critical thinking skills instead of just being spoon-fed by the AI, right? And that's convenient sometimes, don't get me wrong. Especially if you want an answer really fast, like, that's convenient, but if you're trying to, like, critically learn, then it's not the best. Yo, Gil, how's it going? It's going pretty well, though. Currently, I'm doing some web accessibility lessons. So I'm just kind of taking notes and going through documentation and stuff. And then, after this kind of web accessibility responsive design, I'm going to get into learning React, which is going to be very fun. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. The next stream or two are going to be very much like study-based streams, and then I'm going to get into more project building. Oh yeah, I know Terrence Tao. I know of him anyway. I don't know him personally, obviously. AI has lost the ability to accidentally find new material. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. Yeah, I'm taking notes on the right, Abdu. I'm using Obsidian to take notes here. I'm taking notes for this stuff because it's more complicated. Like when you search without AI, you might go through a few links and you might get some extra information you never would have before. Yeah, exactly. Or like, no one goes on like Wikipedia rabbit holes anymore. Like I love just like going on a Wikipedia rabbit hole, but no one does that anymore, right? Where you like click a link that goes to another link that goes to another link, and then you just kind of, you know, go down. You get from like one thing to a completely separate thing. Getting into web development stuff, into the nitty gritty. Yeah, exactly, Gil. I'm getting into the like making pages accessible and stuff like that. So the demo project for the end of this course is a responsive and accessible homepage. So you get like the design files here, and you have to kind of make it accessible. And then I'm gonna like use these notes to make sure that I hit all of the accessibility requirements and the responsive design and all that stuff. So it's gonna be pretty good. No, I'm not building a documentation page. I'm just kind of, this is for my own notes, Abdu. One of the few things that do rabbit holes in Wikipedia. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I have been a Wikipedia surfer since I can remember, honestly. So, you like handwriting? You think it's better? That's fair. I get that, but my handwriting is so terrible that I'd rather just type my notes. Like, I don't think I've handwritten anything in like years, other than like when I had to for tests. Like, some of the tests I took in my program I had to handwrite, but other than that, I would never handwrite. I like typing more. But again, it's teach your own. Like you can handwrite if you like handwriting and it works for you. Like, go for it. I'm all for it. Especially for like math and stuff, it can get kind of tricky. Because who the hell is going to use LaTeX for, you know, solving math problems? At least first go. I knew some like mad lads that would do that. Like I remember like I was in my discrete math course, and they would write everything in LaTeX like first try instead of like on a piece of paper or like on their iPad or something, which is like absolutely like psychopathic. But you know, like usually what I would do is I'd make sure I had a solution that made sense, and then I would translate it to LaTeX. But when you took math proofs, you just wrote directly into LaTeX. Yeah, see, you're those. I could never do that. I could never do that. I needed to, even with live rendering, I'd rather write the proof out by hand. There's people who have done that. They always get into handwriting physically or with an electronic pencil. Yeah. You're just lazy. That's fair. Also valid. I wasn't smart enough to do that though. Like I needed to write it on paper because that was the only way I could like think about the problem. Like if I just tried to do it directly in LaTeX, like I wasn't smart enough to think about the proof and handle the LaTeX at the same time. I couldn't like visualize it as well, I guess. Like reading the LaTeX and like thinking about the proof. I don't know. Again, we all like do things differently, right? So. One of your fave courses you remember spending a few hours with some proof about accountability? Oh, nice. What course was that, if you don't mind me asking? Because I had a couple courses that I liked too. Like, I had a course on cellular automata, and like finite state machines and Turing machines and all that. And that course was really cool. I like that one. You built Front-End Mentor's recipe page. Can you see it after you finish this? Absolutely, Abdu. I can see it on the next break. So we're at 7 minutes right now. Just shoot a message in the Discord or something with a link. Or you could probably... I don't know what the default, the automod does for links in the chat. But I can absolutely check it out on the break. Def course for the math major guys. Oh, it was intro proofs course, pretty notorious at our school. Oh yeah, we had one like that. That was discrete math 2. Was our notorious one. You send it here after we finish this? Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, when this timer hits 0, you can send it. And then I'll take a look at it for 5 minutes on the break. Okay, so form validation. Let's do like form errors. Sounded like thunder. Yeah. I'm using a different. Video for the rain sounds. So it's soothing rain sounds and thunder. Actually, it's soothing rain sounds and hitting clay jars with distinct thunder. I don't know. I just kind of like to switch it up every now and again. I was actually thinking for a side project of building my own that I could use, like whether it's like rain sounds or brown noise, white noise, something like that. I thought I was having an electric storm. No, no, no. That's the YouTube video. So we can use error alert, then autofocus. Errors reported on top of page form. Inline errors. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't even think like the weather here is warm enough to have thunderstorms yet, which is kind of unfortunate. Okay, I think we're good. Alternative text. The thing is with this content Gata is it's very much it's what should I say? It's not code that, or it's not content that is necessarily stuff that can be put into practice immediately. It's more so guidelines for larger projects. So I'm kind of taking the approach of learning this stuff, taking notes, trying to understand what I can, and then when it comes to building and implementing the larger project, I can reference these notes. So that's kind of the approach I'm taking. But it's like, it would be kind of weird, for example, to like, I mean, again, you could do it your own way. You could do it any way you want. But if I were to just, like, I don't know, I guess implement this stuff into HTML and CSS, like right now, it would kind of be divorced out of its context of being in a larger project. So it wouldn't really give me meaningful practice, at least in my opinion. Like, this isn't like JavaScript theory or anything like that. All right, I'll check it out. Yeah, I'll check it out, Abdu. See if the link posts. I'm not sure what the auto mod is going to do. And if it doesn't post, just send it in the Discord and I'll take a look. If you're in the Discord. Okay, send it in the Discord. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I don't think I can see it in the chat. I know that link sending. I don't know what the auto mod configuration is. But yeah, just send it in the Discord. I'll take a look at it there. Put it in like web development or something, or like self promotion or whatever. There we go. All right. Oh, this is looking fresh. This is super fresh. So wait, what's the... This was front-end mentor, you said? You tried to make it responsive? Yeah, I mean, so like, let's try and... yeah, see? So it grows well. And then when it's skinny enough, it fills the whole screen. So that's pretty cool. I like that. So this is like the mobile view, kind of. I think the only thing that I would say, and I'm not an expert here, is I would maybe make these a little bit like I would make the this column and this column. I would increase the gap, and then maybe align, instead of having these centered, I would align them left. That's the only thing that I would do differently, I think. But the rest of it looks fantastic. Like if we go to front end mentor here, let's see what their their default is here. I know it's in here somewhere. Recipe. Oops. Yeah, like that's pretty close. The only thing is yours isn't colored, I guess. Doesn't have that colored background, but that's not a big deal. Yeah, see how they did it here, Abdu? Like, see how they've got it like this, where it's like left aligned, and then there's like a big gap, so it's very easy to see. Like, I don't know, it just makes it a little bit more readable. But other than that, like, you kind of nailed it, my friend. Other than, I mean, the font's a little different, but like that's not a huge deal. But yeah, no, it looks great. And then can you, like, I guess you can host stuff on Vercel for free, right? Because, like, I know there's GitHub pages too, right? So I don't know. I like GitHub pages just because it's, like, easy. But, oh, you can. Okay, that's pretty cool. That is pretty neat. feel like I'm just gonna like skim this. Yeah, so you should do some front-end vendor projects here. Yeah, I might eventually, Abdu. I might even... I think I'm going to finish... I want to finish the Odin project first. But then once I finish the Odin project, I'd love to jump into some of those, for sure. Just because, I don't know. I want to get a baseline, right? So once I'm done Odin, for sure. I mean, I'm not going to finish... like for the Odin project, I'm not going to do the getting hired course on stream. I'm just going to go up to Node.js. I'm not going to do this getting hired on stream if I do it. So I'm going to do this course, React, databases, Node.js. So I'd say we'll probably be done Odin in like, I hope like 2 months or something. 2 more months, I would say. Optimistically. Probably by day 120, maybe. If we're on day 52. Like, that Battleship game took us 10 days alone, so I don't know. Alt and input type text is good for SEO. Oh, that's good to know. Might actually write that. Is that true? Let's see. Image SEO, how to optimize your alt text. How to use alt tag in SEO. I'm only really seeing this for images. I mean, this is just one source. I'm just kind of skimming this. Fig caption. Avoid using generic terms like image or picture, yeah. Alright, see you next time, Abdu. Have a good night. I'll take your word for it. Or wait. In cases where an image has a text-based connection that can read my screen. Image is also like yeah, okay. Decorative images and supplementary images. I'm not gonna spend my time writing all this stuff out. I think it's the cursory view is more than acceptable in this case. Okay, that's good. WAI aria. Kind of want to get through. I don't know if I will today. I guess not. Kind of wanted to get through this accessibility section today, but it might not happen. I might do the rest of it off screen or something, or off stream, to get to this responsive design for tomorrow, because that was kind of my thinking, is that we would get to responsive design by tomorrow. I know the point is to show my entire process, but I don't know. I might just finish this up off stream. Does Odin Project use Express.js? Let me check, actually. I'm just going to set up this node. For node, I think it does use Express. Yeah, there's a whole Express section right here. So it does. So the classic anime time skip off screen training. Yeah, I don't know. I like, if there's a little thing, like I want to finish like one extra lesson or something, I may or may not. I don't know. I just like, I want to make like, and I'm still kind of learning this, is like I want to make the streams accurate to my learning process, but also not like I want people, if they want to get value out of my streams, like by chatting or whatever it is, I want to be able to provide value, as well as whether it's, even if it's just a study partner, right? So I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted. But I mean, this is just like note writing, so it's nothing crazy. But again, I wanted to showcase most of my process. I know it's going to get like a little bit unrealistic, especially as I start building like bigger projects, like showcasing every, like if I only build projects on stream, I'm not going to finish things very quickly. So, you know, we'll see. I mean, I stream like what, like 10 to 15 hours a week, so it's not a lot. That's not a lot of time to be working on stuff. But you know, and plus, like, not to mention, I'm also not in deep work the entire time, because like I'm talking to you guys, and I'm talking about, we go on side tangents about like the weather or sports or whatever, and I love it because it's like kind of, you know, we're, you know, just chatting. It's kind of fun, but you know, makes these streams more you know, engaging, I guess. Okay, so if I remember correctly, this is just like tags or attributes to make websites more accessible to like screen readers and stuff, right? dangerous when used incorrectly. Can be dangerous if used incorrectly. Adds unintended semantics to the page. Right. Accessibility tree. Based on the DOM. While the DOM represents nodes and objects. Based on the DOM but only contains accessibility related information. Right. Can be set in native labels, alt text, etc. Announced in addition to name by assistive technology. Label. Some ARIA attributes require an element to have a defined ID. Hi, Caro. How's it going? I think I'm just gonna finish this. I'm gonna finish this article and then I'm gonna end stream. I think. You're tired? That's understandable. Are you available by? Another great thing, overwrites. If labeling is usually hidden, but still modify. Okay. Modifies the description property and similarly requires ID values of elements to be targeted. The input element receives focus. Okay, how much longer do we? Okay, we're almost done here. I'm just gonna finish this and then we'll leave this for either next stream or I'll either do this next stream or I'll do it before next stream so that we can get right into responsive design. Because again, I know this stuff's kind of stale, but it is important. Kind of develop my own documentation for this stuff. This is actually a good example. Already hidden, okay. Element will remain visible to sighted users. Is the Rain soundtrack actually at my place? It's a soundtrack. I did a different video this time. I don't know. I'm just trying to change it up, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I like that this one has thunder. Actually, it's kind of good. Can be useful if you want to add an icon inside another element. Add book. Okay. Click on this one. All children of elements with are also hidden. And cannot be overwritten. C rule. For above. Never use focusable elements. Okay. I think that's it for this. Okay, so we read through sections 1 to 5 of this. Holy shit. Yeah, I might do this off screen or off stream because this is like a lot of stuff. So I'll probably skim that off stream. ARIA live regions. Interesting. Yeah, and then there's another lesson on accessibility auditing, which looks pretty short, kind of, and then we're on to responsive design. So probably I want to say 2 more streams. Well, probably 3 more streams. 3 more streams of HTML, CSS, and then I think we're on to React after that. So that'll be really fun. Really looking forward to it. I know the streams, if the study streams aren't your vibe, again, come back next week. I'll be getting into some React, live project building again. So if you want to follow along on my journey, or you want to, learn web development alongside me, feel free to subscribe. I go live 5 to 6 times a week, about 5 times actually, 5 times a week. Join the Discord if you want to get updates about when I go live and to share any projects you're working on, or just chat with my community. Anyway, that's going to be it for me, and I'll see you all tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a good night.